An ad? Seriously? Bro, the picture doesn't go in like that. Bro, is this guy stupid? Alright, bro, there's no way this guy is this dumb. Alright, bro, there's no way this game is that hard. I'm gonna play it and see how it is. Wait, this isn't even the game that I saw in the ad.
Do you remember when everyone used to play mobile games and they weren't cringe? Everyone has played a mobile game at some point in their life. Whether it was Flappy Bird or even like an iMessage game that you play with your friends on Game Pigeon. And of course, there's all of the OG games that we've come to know and love. Angry Birds, Clash of Clans, Temple Run, Geometry Dash, and Subway Surfers. We used to spend all of our bus rides, lunch breaks, and sleepovers being glued to the iPad or our iPods. Back then, mobile gaming felt exciting and unstoppable. I remember the first time that I got this iPad 3 when I was in the 5th grade. I was absolutely addicted to Doodle Jump and Temple Run. And the excitement that I had from this device and all of the games that came with it was unmatched. But the sad part is, it seems like today, the mobile gaming industry cares more about money. And in general, it just feels cheap, empty, and not really memorable. There are more mobile games than ever before, but somehow none of them really seem to stick. So what really happened to mobile gaming, and why does none of us really care about it anymore? The sad truth is mobile gaming has changed its purpose. It went from being entertainment to a money grab. So we have to look back to the golden age of mobile gaming, which was in 2009 to 2013. Small indie game developers were the ones who were creating these games. A lot of times it was less than a handful of people who were building games like Cut the Rope and Angry Birds. Most of the time, whenever you would get a game like this, you would just pay a couple dollars and you get the full experience of the game. There was no ads in the games or all of these in-app purchases. You just paid a few dollars for the game and you had lifetime access to it. Now, some ads did exist, but they were more background noise, not really the main purpose of the app. And at this time, mobile gaming was so big that people thought that consoles were actually going to die in the future. And these mobile games were not just filler. They were addicting to everyone, they were driven by the community, and they were actually respected among the players. Every level had a purpose, and every mechanic in the game made sense to play. They were just wholesome fun and designed to keep you hooked on the game itself, not on any distractions or other mechanics. Comparing the mobile games that we had back in the 2010s versus now, it doesn't seem like there's a big difference in quality of the actual graphics themselves. Think about it, we have all of the latest hardware, including the iPhone 15 Pro and the Galaxy Ultra phones, yet mobile games don't look much better than they did on an iPhone 4. And after doing some further research on this, I found out it's actually because developers make it this way. Not every person has the newest phone that's a flagship iPhone. Game developers, whenever they're building an app, must design for the weakest phone on the market, not the strongest. And the power gap between budget phones and the newest iPhone Pro Max has just grown further and further. Developers have decided to take the safe path. They make a game that runs everywhere no matter what phone you have, even if it looks worse. And the reason for this is because there are thousands of variations of phones on mobile compared to things like consoles, which is made for the specific console itself. So these developers don't put the quality into building out their games with polished graphics because they know a lot of players might be playing on outdated devices. These developers know that polishing up your game and making it look shiny with all the best graphics doesn't guarantee success. It's the instant gratification of it and making it the most fast-paced and addictive to kids. Which leads on to these companies value monetization over gameplay. This is the real turning point of whenever games became soulless. And it all started off pretty harmless with developers allowing players to get a light version of the game, which was essentially a free version with a path to upgrade later if they enjoyed the actual game itself. With all of the new free games coming out, suddenly people didn't want to pay for upfront games anymore. These game developers had to find a different way to make money from their users. It started off with a million ads flooding the market on these free games, and then later on the App Store allowed microtransactions within their games, which allowed a whole new level of playing field. And even some of the OG games that we had came to love like Angry Birds became a soulless cash grab. Whenever the game came out, it became more like a slot machine than an actual game to enjoy. It was filled with a million microtransactions on every screen that you played. And even games like Candy Crush began incentivizing people to pay more money for more lives. There were an endless number of currencies between cards, coins, coins, tokens, all with the purpose of getting people to pay more money on a free game. Paywalls were intentionally designed to make you frustrated at a game and want to pay to begin playing more of it. And Clash of Clans may have been the worst. I don't know how many kids got scammed in my middle school trying to get free gems off of a shady website. And it turns out if you want to max out your base in Clash of Clans, it would cost you over $140,000 to do so. And most of these paid upgrades were not anything meaningful. At the most, they were just stat bumps, or maybe you could get some bragging rights from your friends. But over time, the industry flipped from putting the gameplay first to putting the monetization first. Developers slowly stopped asking themselves, how do I make this game actually good? And started shifting their focus to how can I squeeze as many transactions out of kids as possible. Games became all about play to win. They were no longer about winning through the skill and time put into the game, but rather who was willing to spend the most amount of money. There was a new market for a type of game that was even worse. And these are called quote unquote trash games. These are the games that you've seen all over the ads. They're the copy and paste puzzle games, the endless runner games, and the pointless .io titles. They are all the copy and paste games that are meant to give kids dopamine. I've seen some ridiculous games pop up within the last couple years, especially on YouTube and TikTok. I mean, for a while there, it was even a trend for people to put these mobile games on the background of a clip. If you've ever been on TikTok before, I'm sure you've come across this at least once. And the ads are so bad. They have completely fake gameplay or people pretending to play the game worse to get people to download it. They are purposely playing bad with psychology to make you to download it to play it right. And with some of these games, the mechanics are super misleading and they're not even in the actual game itself. And YouTube and TikTok continue to this day to promote these games, which kind of normalizes the bad product. And some of these ads were faked so much that people began to create real versions of the game. They were just tricked to installing these through bait ads. And the Apple App Store doesn't care about any of this. And the craziest part is these tactics work. People get so frustrated at seeing other people incorrectly play the games that they click and download out of frustration. And the result of this is a feedback loop where the lowest quality games rise to the top of the charts and get downloaded over actual high quality games. It seems like a lot of the old mobile games had a real culture and community behind them. We had the Clash of Clans wars, the Geometry Dash challenges. These were the type of games that had you comparing your scores with all of your friends at the lunch table and trying to be at the top of the leaderboards out of your friend group. But today, with a few exceptions, it doesn't seem like any of the new modern day mobile games have any sort of long-lasting community. People would rather spend all of their hours scrolling on TikTok and Instagram than building a community through these games. All of these mobile games are just a background distraction for someone to do while they're doing something else like watching a YouTube video. And the problem is with these games, if there is no community, after the novelty wears off, people just undownload it. And this is the reason why there are so many trends right now with mobile games where it seems like they're really popular for a little bit and then they just completely disappear and vanish. Mobile games are no longer the central attraction anymore. Kids and teenagers who genuinely want to take gaming seriously now, they'll just buy a PC or a console. The casual experience of the teenage mobile gaming market has just completely gone out the window. Mobile games are now just filler content for whenever social media gets boring. After scrolling for 2 or 3 hours on TikTok, these kids will get bored and just put it on in the background, have something to do with their hands. Developers are the ones having this problem as well, which lead to the bad games because they're having their biggest demographics stolen somewhere else, which is usually social media. Developers have no choice now but to lean into the short, repetitive games to keep their audience engaged. All of the new mobile games just have endless tapping, swiping, and even ads between every round. It's constant stimulation, dopamine, and engagement for anyone who just wants to waste some time. These apps are intentionally designed for people who have a low attention span and are just switching between other apps. Compare that to Clash of Clans, which demanded time, perseverance, and building a community. I remember there was a few times in middle school I was working so hard on this game to get promoted to a co-leader. Man, there was such a cool community built around that game. But now every game is completely disposable. You download it, play the game for 5 minutes, and then move on to the next. And that's why there's no loyalty in modern mobile games. They're not built to last. And the developers know this. That's why they're pushing quantity over quality. Over time, attention spans have shrunk, especially with social media like TikTok and Instagram. And these games are following the trend instead of resisting it. And it's not an exaggeration to say that all mobile games feel hollow now. In the past, with early games, it was the actual gameplay first and the experience of their customer. and the monetization came second. The system was designed around people genuinely wanting to buy and play their games. And it was a win-win for everyone because typically these games are only 99 cents to $3 max. And now it's been completely reversed where monetization comes first and gameplay is second. These new games are too easy, so you have to continuously just keep swiping. Or they're even frustrating by design, that way you have to pay to continue moving forward in the game. Because of all of the money that goes behind these games, creativity is gone. Developers no longer have a genuine passion for creating something cool. They don't care if you enjoy the game anymore. This whole reason is why I do not even touch mobile games anymore. I used to love Clash Royale, Clash of Clans, Doodle Jump. Man, there's so many. Temple Run. But now with the stupid amount of ads, the lack of community, and the crazy amount of microtransactions in these games, it just feels hollow now. And don't get me wrong, there are still good games, but they're typically made by indie developers who are really passionate, and they're getting buried by a mountain of junk which are dominating the top charts on the App Store. The entire philosophy of game design has changed where it is all focused about money and attention. They're intentionally building these games for kids who have a low attention span and have nothing better to do with their day. If they were able to shift this philosophy back to what it used to be of creating genuinely good games that people really want to play, there's a chance they could even go back to competing with some of the console games. I remember the market was so big, there were even kids buying iPads and iPod Touches just to play some of the mobile games on them. But now mobile gaming is just a game that kids download for 5 minutes, play for a little bit, get bored, and then delete it. And this is all in between the span of time that they're switching from TikTok to Instagram. Mobile gaming did not die because the phones are weak or the hardware is weak compared to things like consoles. The real reason why it died was because the industry began focusing on the monetization over community and building actual genuinely good games. They traded creativity and innovation for money. And unless the standards change or people begin catching on to what these companies behind these games are doing, mobile gaming will remain a graveyard of clones, loot boxes, gambling, and manipulative ads to get kids to play into their game. That is why we remember Temple Run and Angry Birds so fondly. They respected our time and attention, and we also respected the people behind these games who had the creativity and innovation. But mobile games as a whole has lost the plot. And until the industry remembers that, mobile gaming will never recapture its golden age. The saddest part is that the potential and opportunity is still there. The hardware is better than ever and players are willing to get into it. The only thing missing is the respect from audiences and the cash grabs that make most people not even want to get into the space. But let me know what you think. Do you still play mobile games to this day? And do I sound like an old head for saying that some of the OG games were genuinely better than the new stuff that they're pumping out right now? But if you like this type of content, feel free to check out some of the other videos on my channel similar to this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.